What's going on? I'm Thomas. On my way over to R&L Drums. Get a nice sit down with Richard Leroy and Saul Ramos. Get to pick their brains and see why percussion is their passion. Looking forward to this. Let's get into it. I finally made it over to R&L Drums. Over here with Richard Leroy.
Hey, Tom.
And Saul Ramos.
What up, brother?
We're going to get into talking a little bit about what R&L Drums is about.
That's right.
Here at West Union, South Carolina. Richard, what made you get into this?
Good question, Tom. I decided back during the COVID situation that I needed something to do besides just work. I needed some kind of a hobby.
Amen.
Yeah, a hobby. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? I'm a drummer from the past. I drummed for quite a while when I was about 10 years old, all the way through high school, had a couple of small bands. Then I got a real job and didn't have time for it anymore. So 20-some years went by.
Yeah, doesn't it suck when life just happens?
Yeah, it just happens.
You're doing your thing, and
Yes.
you're having so much fun, and all of a sudden... See, I did it differently than you did, because when I was going up with the drums,
Yep.
I kind of fell into it with a friend of mine was selling his, so I decided to buy it.
Yep.
You know, so I had a little piece of crap, a $20 drum set. And we started jamming, me and my buddy Jack, which he knows,
Yeah.
Tom knows, we were from the same area. And me, Jack, and this guy Randy Brolsma, and this girl Michelle Wolf, and Tiffany DeCerbo. This was our startup band. These two girls and us.
Yeah.
And Michelle's still, by the way, she's still out there. She does the gigs and all that.
She plays a lot in Florida.
Does she? Does she?
She lives in
That's
Florida
cool.
now.
That's cool.
And it was fun. I mean, I loved it. It was like something I'd love to do. I saw myself, I can do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's not a 9 to 5
Yeah.
jam when you're stuck. You know?
Yeah. Right.
But you know, like life happens. You know. And,
Yeah.
we just kind of went different ways, and then we came back together with different people.
Yep.
You know, is that how it kind of like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just, I decided I got to do something. So I bought a drum set again and started playing. I wasn't very good. I kind of lost the effect of drumming. But I bought some what we call octobans, which are kind of like these from a competitive company.
Van Halen.
Yeah, like Van Halen. And I started playing them, but I wasn't real thrilled with the product itself. And I thought to myself, hey, maybe I can make these. So yeah, that's kind of how I started out.
Was it the sound that you didn't like?
Yeah.
Or was it the sound?
It was the sound. Yeah, it's to me it just had a very hollowish, not a great, not like your standard 10-inch or 12-inch tom you've got sitting on your set. It was very.
No, that was acrylic too, though, right?
Yeah, these were actually they weren't acrylic. They were.
They were fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
Yeah,
they were fiberglass.
Yeah,
So I thought that maybe acrylic would have a bit of a softness to it.
Right.
So I
I
started.
have the aluminum ones.
And you've got aluminum.
I've had aluminum. I sold them.
That's right. You sold them.
And you know, when I first got them, I wasn't impressed at all.
Yeah.
It just didn't have that. They were too tingy.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
But when those are much. I mean,
the acrylic has a great sound to it. So anyway, I reached out to some suppliers and found some acrylic tubing and basically just started getting them cut to size, getting the 45-degree bearing edges put on them, have a machine shop down the street, and started buying all the hardware. And the beauty of it is that I didn't have to buy it in just clear. I was able to buy the tubing itself, 1/4-inch thick tubing, seamless, which is very important. It's got to be seamless to make it sound right, in different colors. So
now, when you originally did that, you were trying to get a better sound for yourself in the beginning.
Correct. Yes.
And then obviously, what did you see that made you get involved with wanting to produce?
I went back to listening to a lot of the bands that I liked from the past, including specifically Van Halen, Rush, Neil Peart, of course, right? And then some Mike Mangini stuff, and I was like, these guys are using octobans,
that's pretty cool.
octobans, and they sound phenomenal. They look phenomenal. It's kind of funny, Tom. Real quickly, when people buy octobans, they either buy them to actually play them, or they buy them because they want their sets to look really cool. And they barely even touch them.
Wow.
Some guys put them way up here, and you can barely reach them. I couldn't reach them. Some guys have them down here, and so what we decided to do, because some people do like setting them up in 4 or 8 in a row, is we came up with the double tom stands, so they could have them set up that way. But we also came up with another stand very similar to the Tama style stand, where you can put 2 and 2.
Like blocked in.
And you have them kind of sitting up there again with your hi-hat right above it, so you can play them up here.
Or like Scott Rockenfield above your 4 toms.
Or above your 4 toms, exactly,
Or,
yeah. So that's kind of how it all started, basically. And now we've got the facility to do it all.
I know in the past you talked to me about COVID, when COVID hit.
Yep.
I guess that was a big thing for you. Why don't you discuss how that went all on?
Well, so I'm in the process actually of selling a company up in Ohio right now. But obviously that company was still, 35 years into it at the time. And it was like you walked in on a Monday morning and the phone just didn't ring anymore. And it was really scary, to be honest with you. I was so afraid that I would have to get rid of employees at the time.
Right.
Which luckily, touch wood, we never ever had to do that. It's awesome.
And from knowing you and the short time that I have known you, I see that you're extremely family oriented.
I am. Yep.
And the same with Saul.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I am. And
Oh,
with a little
definitely,
bit of
yeah.
family
Yeah.
I do
Right.
left.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're all not gonna make it out of here.
We're all getting older.
But right now at this time with RL Drums,
Yep.
your business right now is run out of a 3,000 square foot facility.
Right.
When you started this company, you started this out of your home, correct?
I did, yeah. Actually, it's just around the corner from where we're sitting.
right.
It's a little 10-foot by 12-foot room.
Gotcha.
I put up a bunch of stickers to make it look cool in there, some Rush stuff and whatever. And
So what do you call it? The mechanical room.
yeah, exactly. That's where all the mechanical room basically,
exactly.
and the hot water tanks are in there. So I started in there, and it's kind of funny now. You look at this. Now we're packed into this 3,000 square feet facility, which it's been great for us for now. Down the road, there's going to be some changes though.
I'll do another video, and probably in another couple of weeks where I'll start out where he started and where he is and where he's going.
Right.
But
Yep.
for now, let's concentrate more on RL and your products that you're offering right now.
Yep, absolutely. So as I said, we started off with the Octobans, like what you're looking at right here, and as time went on, people started getting interested. People started buying them. Then they'd say, "Oh, do you have snare drums?" No. Piccolo snares? No. How about stands? How about cymbals?
And it just grows.
And it just grows. And I was like, nah, I'm sorry, we don't have that. So I started to reach out and found some really, really good suppliers of snare drums, regular snares, piccolo snares, and then the hardware such as this. Then we got a really great line of cymbals. They are out of China called Omet. I think they call them Omate over there. Omate. It's almost like an Australian thing. Omate. Good guy by the name of Kevin that runs the company over there. He's been just a gracious guy and an excellent quality product. So we started very good quality. Yeah. So we started bringing in about 11 series, Saul?
I believe we are 12.
Up to 12 different styles now.
That's just the Omet line.
That's just the Omet line.
Just the Omet line.
12 series.
Right. There are others in Omet line as well that I haven't had yet.
That you don't carry out.
Right.
Okay.
But we do everything from the packs of the low volume cymbals, which are really good for parents who have kids in the basement that have a drum set. They don't want to hear the crazy sound of the cymbals all the time.
Low tone.
Low volume in different colors, which is kind of cool. Then we do offer like the B8s and the B10s, which are basically made of machines.
Right.
And they're a little bit less in dollars, of course, but then from that point on, they're all hand-hammered B20s quality cymbals.
Right, professional.
They're doing really well for us.
The B10 sounded great. I mean, I've
the B10s sound really good too. Yeah,
it depends on what you want for whatever
Right.
What you're playing.
Right, and we will be doing videos.
I know from the outside looking in and just doing a few YouTube searches and looking at Omet and. Wow, I mean, there's quite a lot of big drummers that are really enjoying the Omet series.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, everybody has
overseas,
everybody seems to have their little niche, whether it's going to be the Complex or the Blazers or whatever they want, depending on the type of music.
Yep.
But
you can mix match. I mean, it's just like any other cymbal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your ear. If you want to hear something, you find that sound and you use it.
Yep.
And I'm fortunate enough to I can go into the shop and I can cherry pick. Let me try this one. Let me try that one.
Right.
Let me try this one.
Right.
And this is where I want to be. All right, this is perfect for now.
Right.
Then there'll be another change. Just like eating, you don't want to have the same sandwich every day.
Correct.
So
And
you
it
want to
all depends on what you play too. If you decide you're going to spend the next month and learning something new on your drums, like I want to learn jazz. Then you go with a certain series of their cymbals. If you want to do some heavy metal stuff, you do with another series of their cymbals.
Right.
But an interesting thing, Tom, about Saul here is that Pearl drums. He's been playing Pearl for years, an excellent brand, no doubt about it. And he also played a competitive cymbal. And that competitive cymbal, he decided after working with me for a couple of months, he's like, these cymbals are really good sounding.
They are.
I think I'm going to switch them out. And he did. And he switched them out. And he sold the other cymbals.
I got to say, one good thing about that brand that I used, they did hold their value.
Absolutely.
And one of them actually went above and beyond.
Yep.
So I sold it. If I'm not going to use it,
right.
I'm not going to hang on to it.
Right.
Let somebody else have it.
And by the way, we actually can say the name. It's Zildjian.
Right.
It's Zildjian. Everybody knows Zildjian cymbals.
I paid X amount of money for it.
And no knock to Zildjian. They've done a phenomenal job. They've got phenomenal cymbals.
They're the oldest running cymbal company in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, they come from Turkey.
Turkey.
From back in the day and what have you.
Very good cymbals.
So we're going to back it up here a little bit because I got a couple things in my head that I'm thinking about right now. We got to get a little bit of your past, not a whole lot of your past.
Right.
Which I do want to touch on here
Sure.
in a minute, but we've been talking a lot. Let's see a little bit about your past. So what got you into this? What got you hooked up with Richard and R&L
I can
drums?
fast forward to that. Yeah, and that's I was going through a little issue with my hips. My one hip actually. I already had one replaced. This one was going out. So I was working for a company here in Seneca. I was a chef. I love to cook, and that's what I do. If anybody knows who I am, knows what I post almost every other weekend. Some kind of food.
And I'll tell you that food is
good.
I've had them both over. They've eaten anyway. I'm not just gonna sit there and pat myself in the back. But yeah,
he can almost cook as good as me.
almost.
Hold the carrots.
So basically, I got burned out with COVID. I was working in healthcare basically, and people would start calling out and I have a cold and it was so strict. Nobody knew what to do. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed in the doors because if you're sneezing or everybody knows this whole nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare.
Put the mask on. You're in the kitchen. You're sweating already, and then you got to put this thing on. You can't breathe.
Yep.
It was really really stressful. So I got out of it.
Not even a tough environment, just for the chemicals and everything that were.
No. That's not that place. I'm talking about the cooking. But
the cooking. Okay,
I got out of that because I burned myself out of that.
Yep.
Right.
So I said to myself, look, I need something with structure. I need something from say whatever hour to this hour. Back then I was doing 7 days a week, blah blah blah. But I had to cover because people didn't want to come to work.
Right.
Or they would make the excuse, you can't come in. They didn't have COVID, but they thought they did, and they got to stay after 5 days. So it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So anyway, I fast forward. I went to a totally different thing. I went to pretty much a plant, and I worked the plant. It was a 12-hour shift. It was rotating, so I worked 2 on, 2 off, that kind of thing. Every other weekend off, whatever. 12 hours, mind you, without any contact with the outside world. I have elderly parents. And on top of that, I was having my issues with my hip. Right. Because I'm climbing ladders now, and I'm doing things that I never really did in the kitchen. Now I'm like, wow, I can't do that. I can't bend down. It's just painful. And so I went to the doctor, and they did x-rays. Long story short, I needed a replacement. So I talked to the company. They put me on short-term disability. Now, sitting home, bored, looking at my phone. I'm into drums. I'm like, you know what? I'm staring at my kit. I have those tube drums, we'll call them.
Yep.
And I wanted to add on to them, and I noticed that I saw this guy selling all these for a reasonable price. And as I'm digging further into it, I go, holy crap, this guy is down the road from me.
Literally.
I was like, how did I not know this?
Right in town.
Right in town. So immediately I shoot him a friend request on Facebook. He
right away.
Back, everything was boom.
Yep.
It's like, dude, man, I live in Seneca, and you're over here in West Union. I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh man, I got to come down and check it out. Yeah, come on down.
Yep.
So I took it upon myself. It was a weekend. I think it was a Friday, I'm coming over.
That's what he said. I looked down at my phone. He goes, "I'm coming over." I'm like, "All right."
What's crazy about that whole scenario is I remember he messaged me, and we wound up talking on the phone that night, and he said he was going over to a place in West Union where they were making drums, and I was like, "What?
Really? Making
West
drums?"
Union?" I said, "You gotta be
That's
kidding
where Tom
me."
lives.
I said, "Well," I says, "Whereabouts?" And he says, "Right down the road from your house." I says, "Wow." I says, "Okay, let me know how that goes." I said to him, I was intrigued,
So so I went in, I met his dad. I didn't know his dad then. So he goes, I'll go get him. He had an English accent. So
Yeah.
cool. Anyway, so Rich comes down. Hey, how you doing? Shook hands. Brought me upstairs. I'll show you. I'll give you the penny tour. So
It was kind of a penny tour back then too, wasn't it, Saul?
you had a good bit going on.
We had a good bit, but it wasn't like what we have today.
Well, you had a lot of raw tubes, and nothing was built, but there was a few. And I'm like, I was in awe. I was like, wow, man, this is like heaven. Yeah. I walked into heaven. I was like, this is the ticket.
Yep.
So immediately I says to Rich, I says, well, I told my story. I'm
Short-term disability.
I'm waiting for a surgery and this and that. But in the meantime, if you need any help, I'll come over and give you a hand. No problems. I'd love to get out of the house.
Yep.
So he,
I said, come on.
A couple weeks down the line, and we had to sit down. We talked, and I said, okay, I'll come up and do this. All right, help them out. And I says, all right, great. And I had my surgery, and then I realized, the job that I've had prior, the surgery wasn't going to be for me because I can't climb those ladders like I used to. I got a brand new hip, and so I have to be more careful with what I do in mobility. So I says, we discussed about full-time, employment, and I told him what I needed. He says what he can do, and we decided to come meet in the middle. And I said, okay. I put my 2 weeks in on the last job,
and we brought him on,
and I've been in ever since.
Yep.
And I swear this is the best thing that's ever happened in my life. Honestly.
How do you feel about it?
Well, phenomenal. Well, first of all, you to bring somebody into a business, you've got to know, do they know anything about the business?
Correct.
First of all, have they ever been in the industry?
Right.
And he was. And when I brought him in and I said, look, can you start putting some octagons together for me, boxing them up, that way they're ready to go. That's what he started doing for me. Yeah. And then he started giving me ideas, and I'm like, well, this guy knows his drums. Yeah. And so very, very happy. So made him the vice president recently, got him on full time, and he's already gone to one of the shows with us in Nashville last July.
That was so fun.
It was awesome, really and he's going to be going again with us this year, and as you are.
And we're bringing Tom along as well.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. But yeah, anyway, it couldn't have been it's like one of those great marriages. Actually, it's a great marriage right now.
Right.
Yep.
That's excellent.
Yep.
I mean, to have somebody that you can work with and have the knowledge at the same time, is only going to help you grow.
Right. Exactly.
Everything falls in line from the purpose. I think in life. I mean, when I met Rich, he told me he lost his mom.
Yep.
It was pretty much a year prior.
Yeah, not even. Yeah.
And my parents are old in age; they're in their 80s. And my mom, she just is recovering from breast cancer.
Yep.
And she just got a clean bill of health from being cancer free.
Good.
At least in remission. So that's the big deal for me.
Yeah.
Another reason why I couldn't do this 12-hour shift.
No.
Because I needed to know what's going on with them.
That's right.
We are family-oriented people, and we wanted to keep it that way. Anybody who we have in our fold or buys our product or what have you, we like to keep a one-on-one with them.
Yep.
So we know. Are you satisfied? If you're not, let us know immediately. We can fix things.
That's right.
So we're not gonna shrug you aside. As a company, it's how you grow.
Well, exactly right. I mean, we're still obviously considered a small company, Tom. But,
Absolutely.
But the way that I ran my business prior for 38 years in Cleveland. Anybody can sell a hydraulic piece of equipment to anybody and expect it to work okay. That's great.
Right.
But what a lot of companies don't do is they don't follow up and they don't have the customer service.
Correct.
If you don't have customer service, you're going right down the hill. Yeah. Our customer service, I believe today in RL Drums is probably the best you're going to find out there right now.
Yeah, right now, I mean, just from scrolling social media, from what I've seen, I mean, I on Reverb alone, I see a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're blessed. We've got 400
comments that are
and it's a beautiful thing. And it's not that we're perfect,
right,
by any means of the word.
Nope.
I mean, we make mistakes like anybody else will, but we right those mistakes.
Yes,
as fast as we can.
Right,
with the time allotted. So,
and talking about mistakes, we got to save a funny one here. So we sent the snare drum to this customer. He's all excited to
Oh,
get it.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, I get a text from him on Reverb, and he goes, "Great drum, but the sticker's upside down."
The logo was upside down. Yeah.
So instead of it being like this, it was like this.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Our mistake. But then again, so you know what we did? I didn't just send him another one of these or say take it off and turn it.
Right.
I sent him a whole new drum.
That's right.
Oh wow.
I sent him a
Okay.
whole new drum and said, "Send that back whenever you get around to it."
That's it.
And he was
Right.
thrilled.
That's it.
By
Well,
that.
I mean, I think customer satisfaction is a lot of things that's gone wayside since COVID.
Absolutely.
I know anytime that
Absolutely.
I deal with anything on the outside, it's like pulling teeth trying to get answers from anybody.
I know. I know.
When I, like I said, when I look at your social media sites and I look at the comments that were, I reached out to Richard at 5 o'clock at night, and here's my new drum at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I know.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, I think that's absolutely awesome, and obviously I'd like to see you guys continue with that, and I'm sure you guys do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So right now we're a lot of our products are sold on Reverb, also on Shopify, which you can get to from our website. We've done the marketplace thing a couple of times, just to see how that
Just
goes.
playing around,
Just
yeah.
playing around, and we also put some on a website called drumsellers.com, which is it was weird. We literally put a listing up. Remember that, Saul? We put a listing up, and the same day
Oh yeah.
we sold
Yeah,
something,
we did.
and I
Right.
thought, wow,
I was like, this
is
something.
great.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up talking to the owner of Drum Sellers, and he said that's kind of a weird thing that happened. He goes, that's not normal.
Exactly.
Because that's not normal.
We since found that out.
Yeah.
But,
So we put other stuff on there, and
Yeah.
he's right. It's not normal. It sits there for sale. But anyway, Reverb has been excellent for us. We love using that platform.
Sure.
Everybody's got to make money. Reverb makes money, of course. They charge the tax, they charge the fees, and whatever it is, what it is. But they also offer a thing called a firm. And a firm is a way for a guy that doesn't maybe have the cash right away, but he really wants these drums.
Right.
He can just finance it through a firm, and that's awesome. But going back to what the customer service part of it, Tom, when we get an order on Reverb, and it happens to be a Friday, and I said to Saul, "Hey, you know what? Let's enjoy our weekend. It's 2 o'clock. Let's get out of here.
Right.
Go and enjoy our weekend." All of a sudden, we get a Reverb order. Either he goes back, or I go back to the shop and we ship it.
Ship it out.
We don't ever let it sit for any more than 24 hours.
Going out.
Yep.
So the only time you're ever going to have okay, here's a great question.
Yeah.
What is your biggest constraint that you have to deal with R&L drums? I could probably guess what it is.
Our biggest constraint currently? Saul, you answered that, and then I'll see if you think if I'm
Okay.
gonna.
I would say for us, as far as the location we're in right now, is that we can't really do too much with volume.
Correct.
Okay, I get that. That's because of the square footage that you're working out of right now.
Correct.
Correct. And there's a business
okay.
below us, so
Yeah.
that's
With the square footage you have right now,
Mhm.
what is your biggest constraint that you have to deal with? That you would actually worry about? I would think it would be shipping.
Well, shipping is
that is an issue. I mean,
is an issue right now because the 3,000 square feet space that you've been and seen, Tom, is in a mezzanine.
Right.
We do have stairs, which quite frankly has helped Saul a lot because up and down those stairs has helped his new hip.
my hip,
exercise.
Yeah.
It didn't lose the belly though.
No, well,
We're
but
working
the
on
hip's
that.
good. So yes, it's shipping. Every order we get, if it happens to be a substantial order and it's a full set, let's say, it would be a lot easier for us to always get the tow motor up there, or
Sure.
the forklift, however you call it today,
Either which one.
bring it down. But we pretty much carry everything down 2 flights of stairs right now. So there's changes in the future though. That's going to change that for us.
Sure.
Now, as far as shipping goes, I know you've had a couple different things. I seen one not too long ago where a drum took on a little bit of liquid. In the process there. Now, is that something that obviously you're gonna have to replace the drum?
We did replace the drum. Quite frankly, it was an acrylic product, and water's not going to
That
damage
doesn't
it.
damage now.
But it
Correct.
looked cruddy when it got
Yeah.
there, and I hated the fact that I saw that.
Yeah.
So we did replace the drum to the guy, and he was ecstatic about that, and said didn't have to do it, but we did it anyway. Shipping. I think we pride ourselves. What we do with every order now, especially with the octobans, the snare drums, is we use bubble wrap with everything now.
Oh, yeah.
As some of the snare drums will already be, we'll put a bag around it, then we'll put bubble wrap around it, then we'll put it in the snare box, and we put corner pieces in.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've watched a few different unboxing videos from different drummers on basically RL.
I felt bad for one
they
of
get
them.
it.
Yeah.
The one boy was struggling.
He
a
was
little
breathing
bit,
heavy.
you know. He was into it, but
I gotta get
I
some-
think that's one of the things that's going to set standards out is you know, how you pack your stuff, how you care about your product, and how you want the customer to receive your product.
Right.
I think is huge.
Absolutely. I mean, we invested heavily last year in we had a really good guy that comes and calls on us every Tuesday about boxes, basically.
Yeah.
And I actually had him make special boxes for us. So we said, listen, this is the size we need. Can you imagine? We've got everything from 6" by 6" in the octagons to 6" by 28". Special boxes we had to get made.
Absolutely.
And they got to be thick enough. And they got to be UPS approved boxes, so that if something goes wrong, you can claim back to UPS.
Absolutely.
So the UPS approved boxes. We use banding as well on some of our products. If it's going to be going anything, I think west of Kansas City, let's say, we band everything as well.
Yeah,
right.
So in case it was, you know, the tape goes bad or whatever, the banding's still there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what we do.
Yep. We do the octagons. If it's a 4-pack, we can you know, boom, boom, boom.
Put the four together and wrap them all together
Yep.
and have it as one.
So it's one
unit
big
instead.
unit, yeah.
And we also do a quality.
two.
We also do a quality control sticker now
We do.
too. So we bought
So you'll see
stickers.
my initials every time.
Yep. So if Saul and I are doing a set for a customer, we're
Correct.
working on it together,
Yeah,
obviously.
we both sign.
So here's this little green sticker. We both sign it. We both date it, or we date it, and then we get it out the door. And that way, if anything ever goes wrong, look, it's on us. We looked at this. We made sure it was perfect before it walked
Before it
out the
walked
door
out the door,
or
yeah.
shipped out the door. So if there's something wrong, the onus is on us. We'll fix it.
You ever think that your hobby and passion would turn into a business?
Never. Never. It's really kind of funny. When I decided to sell the company in Ohio, I'm in the process of it still. It's like a 5-year buyout deal, and I'm only a year into it. So I'm still consulting on the side for them. But I thought that when I decided to technically retire from that, that I would take some time for myself and maybe travel and do some other things. Go see some great concerts that I've always wanted to see. But I didn't at the time because this picked up too quickly.
What about you, Saul?
Yeah.
What?
What I do?
Do you ever think that your hobby and passion
No,
would be a full-time
like I said
job
before,
and a career?
like I said before in the beginning, when I started playing with the drums, you know, with the bands with Jack and them, and Tiffany, and never thought it would go into this.
Weird, isn't it?
I mean, I remember back in I'd say late '80s, early '90s, my passion was I love to eat. I love food. I love to
Right.
cook. That's where I wanted to go, you know, and then things.
You see, I
changed.
spent too much time with it.
We're all guilty.
Yeah, guilty.
We're all guilty of that.
Steaks and all. But no, that was always fun. Playing the drums, going out. We played out every weekend. We played out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
our biggest venue at the time was this place called the Chance in Poughkeepsie. That was the biggest venue I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
That was, to me, I was like, wow, that was fun. The first gig I ever did was a place called Confetti's in Poughkeepsie. And that's the day I said, after we got the response from the crowd, I was like, this is what I want to do. For
Yeah, of course.
But, like I said, things change in life.
Yep.
Things happen, where the tragedies happen, which they were. We lost a guitar player to a tragic accident.
Oh, dear.
So we picked up again with another guitarist, a really great friend, and we picked up and ran with it. And then, just like I said, people's jobs change.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Something's
Life.
Life.
happens.
You
So,
can't really, unfortunately, you
then
can't
girls get involved.
Yeah.
And they start picking your.
You can't really make a living when you're playing out on weekends
No,
and bars and
no,
stuff. You
no.
really can't make a living.
You
And
can't
unfortunately, if you think about the money that was being spent on bar bands back in
Sure,
the day,
yeah.
hasn't changed much today.
No.
So if you're going out there, you're spending your gas, and you're going to a club, and you're setting up, and you're spending 4 hours of your time there, you're
Right.
getting home at 2 a.m, and you turn around, you got a 5-piece band or a 4-piece band, you get $100.
You got to bless the guys that are out there doing it.
Absolutely.
Pounding the pavement. They're
Absolutely.
out there all the time. I mean,
Hoping
they're touring,
to be
they're-
found.
And
to be found
hopefully
and
they
make
all
money.
do, and now with this internet scene now, everybody's getting a scene, and they're
Yep.
you're getting heard.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm glad where I'm at.
Oh,
Definitely.
absolutely.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, I never thought this would ever happen. No.
We're only going to go one way, and that's this
That's
way.
it.
So, yeah.
Boom. Let's rock it up.
So where do you think RL drums will be in, say, 5 years from now?
Well, I can tell you where it'll be in 1 year. I can start with that.
Exactly.
Okay, well, 1 year, that's a good step.
I'll start the 1 year. So in approximately a year from now, there's a building that's come up for available actually right next to where we are currently, and it's 13,000 square feet. So it's 10,000 more than we have today.
Yeah.
So we are going to take over that building.
Okay.
It's already a done deal. We just have to wait for them to move out,
Right.
Because they're building currently. And our plan is to have a retail center there, as well as, you know, our warehouse with our stock of products. And then we're going to potentially, hopefully, within the next couple of years, I would say, probably put a studio in. Because around this area, there's not much.
No.
So put in a retail center. I mean, I can come in off the street and I can
Sure.
walk inside and I can put my
You
hands
can
on
put your
anything
hands
that
on
you guys
things. You can
offer.
listen to the cymbals.
Yep.
Everything will be hands on.
Yep, exactly.
And we'll have rooms for that. So, you know, not to disturb anybody else who's having, you know, whatever.
Yeah, we do plan on putting up some soundproof, maybe 3 or 4 soundproof rooms, because not just for somebody to go in there and try a drum set or try a drum or try a cymbal,
Sure.
but we'd also like to bring the people in that want to start learning how to play,
Absolutely.
and maybe hire some you know, drum techs or whatever to go in there and just come in for an hour on a weekend or whatever and teach a kid how to play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, that brings back memories back into when I was a kid. I walked into a place called Lafayette, and it was in New York, and they stole all kinds of stereo equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And when they would have 3 or 4 different
I
rooms
remember that, yeah.
where you could actually walk into,
And actually listen
and
to
you
it.
could literally
Turn it up.
it's the outside of everything else. The rooms were soundproof,
Yep.
and the sound that would come out of them compared to being in an open environment was just unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Day and night.
But then you had to go home and build another soundproof room for yourself to listen to it.
I don't think everybody's got the means to do soundproof rooms, but yeah, absolutely. So at this point, obviously, you guys are growing.
Yeah, we are. We're growing, and we're hoping that by the time we move, a year from now, we've already got a guy in mind. I won't mention his name right now, but we're hoping to have a 3rd person on board with us.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
He's already gone to one of the shows with us,
Yeah.
and he's phenomenal. He learned so quickly, was able to talk to people.
Oh, yeah.
Actually met Ray Lazur from Korn,
He did.
and
Okay.
shook his hand and talked to him for a few minutes. So great guy.
But he met quite a few people. He just didn't know who they were.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
And
so
I
we're hoping
find
to
it
have him on
fun.
board with us. Yep.
Let's talk about the show coming up. I mean,
Oh,
here we
yeah.
go, Tennessee.
Exciting.
Oh, man.
So this is going to be our 3rd time.
Yeah.
The first time I was basically by myself. It was a 10 by 10 booth, and I was kind of nervous because I'd never really done a drum show before, because it's really just all drums in Nashville, and it's a whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and it was a very, very good show for us. It really kind of got our name started out there. So we decided to do it back last July, which was, we took a 10 by 20 space that time. We were able to add our cymbals, a couple of drum sets, we had 1 drum set actually, which people fell in love with, luckily, and some
And
octavans.
sold.
Yeah, and sold. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
And then this year I went ahead and spent the little extra money, and we're doing a 10 by 30.
Yeah.
So we're planning on having basically 2 RL sides here, the Omet cymbal line in the middle.
Center, yeah.
We're gonna have 5 or 6 guys with us this year.
Okay.
I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
It'll be a busy one.
I know I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. We were invited to go to NAMM actually this year, and we decided not to. Nothing against NAMM, but it's expensive.
Very.
It would have probably cost well over $12,000 to spend the few
Easy.
days out there, plus
Easy.
flights and everything, and
Yeah.
transporting the product.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep our money going with the guys in Nashville. The Music City Drum Show is what it's called. MusicCityDrumShow.com if anybody wants to look at it.
Yeah.
And it's really
Show
a
up.
great show. I think it costs $10 or $15 to get in, which is nothing.
All you
these
drummers
days.
out there, man, you guys want to come check that out. It's in Nashville. 3rd week in July.
Yeah, it's like 3rd week in July. I
Third
think.
weekend in July.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
come down, man.
Very much looking forward to it again. Yeah.
Be great. I mean, I had fun when I went the last time.
Oh, it's great. It's a good time.
What was his name? I got the chance to play with
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
Chuggy.
I don't remember his name anymore. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Right. Apparently, he is the conga player for Patti LaBelle and.
That's right.
And
That's right.
You know, so I was like, I didn't know because I don't listen to that vein of music really, but I dig playing some funky grooves.
Sure.
you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
So I was listening to this one guy play along, you know, and he was all right. So I guess Chuggy's is like, I don't know, one of his guys in his camp. He's like, "You want to play?" I'm like, "I don't know." "Yeah, go ahead, jump in there." So I was like, he's signing the autograph to the other guy. I sit behind the kit and I start tapping that snare. I've never felt this. I heard a snare so tight.
Yeah.
And so it's like crack, crack, crack. I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool."
Yeah.
And the bass drum was a small one. It was like a 16-inch.
Yeah.
Like a converter.
Tiny one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it had a nice little pop to it. So I was like, so I got into it. I had fun.
Yep.
He got in it. We're playing, At first I look at him. He looks at me. I says, "Well, go ahead." He goes, "No, you start." He says to me, "All right." So I started a little funky groove.
Yeah.
And he got in with the before you know, there's people kind of like gathering around. I'm like, "Oh hell, I didn't expect all this." But it was interesting. I had a really good time. And we did probably about 3 or 4 minutes,
Yep.
and that was it.
Yep.
And I got up and we shook hands. We started talking. We're both New Yorkers. He told me his story, and I'm like, "That's awesome." He was born I was born in Bronx, so was he.
No, that's awesome.
So it was kind of cool.
Well, the cool thing about the show is that you start to meet people. Then the following year, some of those people are there again.
Sure.
Hey, how you doing? And then you don't quite know their names yet.
Right.
But by the end of that show, now you know their names. The cool thing about this one coming up is that I went ahead and rented a house this time instead of going into hotels.
Exactly.
Rented a house very, very close to the fairgrounds where it's being held.
Yep.
And on that Saturday night, we've invited a few people over that have bought from us now and help us move our line up there. And they're going to come over and we're going to cook out and have a good time together.
I wonder who's cooking.
That sounds great.
And Saul's cooking. Yeah.
I'll throw him under the thing too. So he can help
I'll
out.
help.
But yeah, there's quite a few people we've met, and we kept contact with. One being there's a few of them actually, and they're all really cool people.
Excellent guys. Excellent
It's just
people.
like really nice. We had a couple come visit us, and some bought from us.
Yep. They came to our shop. They
came
actually
to
came to our
shop,
shop.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which was great. I'm looking forward to having the new building because that shop's going to be great. It's going to
Yeah.
be so much better than, hey, come on into this building downstairs, but you got to
Yeah,
walk
you gotta
upstairs
walk
to see what we
upstairs.
got. And they all seem pretty impressed by
Everybody's
what we
fine,
have.
yeah.
Right.
Because we have a lot of stock there, obviously.
We do.
We're literally running out of room.
And we
So I'm
have more
hoping these
coming
guys
in,
can
so-
build quicker and we can move our stuff over there,
Absolutely.
But very much looking forward to the show. I think it's going to be excellent again.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Yep.
It'll be great.
Had a great sit down with Richard Leroy, Saul Ramos from RL Drums today. Had a blast. I can't wait to do it again. If you want to get a hold of Saul or Richard, you just get a hold of them at rldrums.com. We'll see you next month.
RL Drums.